It's time for part 2 of the Ball Street Review, 8-game review. International break is done and dusted. The games are going to come back thick and fast. And yesterday we spoke about the bottom 10, which you can go and check about. What?
What was that?
Steaming into the top 10.
And we are now steaming into the top 10. Starting with Leicester City, who I always get a bit confused with Leicester City because I don't really know where they live.
What are they?
What are they? Who are they?
Ex-champions of the Premier League.
But one thing that I thought they might struggle this year was because Mahrez is such an influential player for them. And thus far, with 12 points, they've done pretty well. Oh. Wow, that's staying in. That's staying in.
That's disgusting. Not only is the ring time disgusting.
Yeah, not as much the unprofessionalism, but more importantly, the ring
has
time
now been exposed to everybody.
To the world.
Is that are you really keeping that in?
There we are.
What it is, you lose.
You talking about the ringtone or Leicester now?
You lose Riyad Mahrez. So Maddison took over. It's kind of replaced the guile and creativity from Riyad Mahrez. And the thing is that people have an idea about what Riyad Mahrez is, and because of his title-winning season, because he's foreign, and because he has skill, there's no way that Maddison could be as good as him, surely. But the fact is, if you look at the effectiveness of this player coming up from the Championship,
2 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah, not just that, but his all-round play and how they build around his attacking prowess. There isn't much difference between the two players.
That's a ridiculous comment.
No,
That's mad.
I'm talking about
he's all right.
Impact. I'm not saying Maddison is Riyad Mahrez or has achieved what he has.
No, I'm saying Riyad Mahrez is so much better than James Maddison.
I'm saying that the impact on Leicester's form hasn't necessarily been so badly affected by Riyad Mahrez's departure because Maddison is in there.
Well,
I don't think that's a crazy statement.
No, I'll give you that.
No, it's also the fact that Riyad
I didn't
Mahrez...
say he's as good as him.
Yeah. Wow.
Riyad Mahrez is a player that comes in and out. It's not every single week. He's not as important as Harry Maguire is to that team or Jamie Vardy is to that team.
Yeah, Harry Maguire, that's a good point, Sam, has kept up his form. I think you could have wondered, after such a great World Cup, can he keep it going? But he is he's in the top, what's he? He's reportedly in the top 5 leagues team of the season so far on who scored. So of all the centre-backs in Europe, he's right up there in terms of his stats as much as anything. I think the worry with Leicester, Wes Morgan has been struggling in a big way. You've got Johnny Evans on the bench who they haven't played yet, which I find a bit strange. If they can stick with Wes Morgan, he seems to be a bit of a liability now as the kind of years go on, and that's where they're going to kind of that's going to stop them moving forward. But the squad is better than I think it's ever been.
Yeah, they've got a good squad there, and they're doing fairly well, aren't they? And the Leicester fans are happy at this stage. You look at their capacities at the King Power Stadium; they're almost like 95% full. Yeah. So it's like the Leicester fans are still buzzing, and they should be. Yeah. And not only that, a lot of teams fall away after achieving what they achieved. They would fall away because it takes a lot to carry on and raise that level of skill and ability to win a trophy or win a league title. And what they've actually done is build sensibly, and there's a lot of good going on at Leicester.
Yeah, I think you're right. And to have 3 people in the England squad for Leicester as well, that's when was the last time that's happened for Leicester? They've got to be really pleased with that. It'd be interesting to see where they can end up.
Ben Chilwell, what a player.
It'll also be interesting if they have like a run of 5 games where they don't get a win, if Claude Puel can
probably will get him out.
Yeah. In 9th place, Watford. 4 wins out of 8. That is a massive surprise. Although, is it not a surprise anymyore because this shit
no, it's still a surprise. They had a storming start to the season. They've kind of wobbled a little bit since, but it's clear that everything that Watford have done the last few years, with all the change of managers, all the change in the squad, they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. They should be struggling and much further down. But
it's good recruitment, though, isn't it?
It's just working. It really is working. Watford is a shining example in that regard.
Yeah, Pereira's been a bit of a star for them. Will Hughes, I think it's his 2nd season at Watford, is starting to do a lot better. Chalobah fit again, which is important.
Deeney scoring.
And Deeney and Gray, that front 2. You don't see 4-4-2 that often, and especially the way that they play it. But it's worked. So between the two of them, 5 goals and assists between them.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a good start to the season. The first, 5 games? They won 4, haven't they?
Yeah.
4 from 8 for any Premier League side out of the top 6 is a good return. The worry is, though, that came in a clump. They had an incredible form, and the last 3 games, they've drawn 1
Good use of the word clump. don't think we've ever had that on Ball Street.
So yeah, look,
you're welcome.
I think they are now where they will end up at the end of the season. I think around mid-table, comfortable. They've got, when they're playing well and they're in their pump, they're kind of like that team that's
the height of their powers so far this season was against you guys.
They were excellent.
Why were they so good?
I think that they would just have the bit between their teeth, and I don't know how to describe it other than the fact that they were just up for it. They were in every tackle, and they've got a team full of very strong players. It was the one time I've ever seen Dembele consistently outworked and outmuscled in midfield, and that was down to Capoue and.
Chalobah?
Doucouré.
Doucouré, that is. They've got such physicality in that team. You're right.
And when it works, when it's successful in the midfield, they can control the game. The issue is that they lack a certain level of technical ability in midfield, and they can be outworked and played through.
I think this will be a really interesting set of 7 games or whatever it is for them before the next international break to see where they can go, because I think this next period, if they fall off a cliff like they did last season, then there's a bit of doom and gloom there, and you look at that season differently. But if they can keep it going and maybe win half of their games, then they're looking like they're going to have a really cracking season.
It does feel like they're going to be a very happy mid-table team. Like I think they'll probably finish ninth, probably where they are there, ninth.
If Gracia can last the season, and start the next season, that's been a really, really successful.
That's progress.
Watford's like, who can we get next? He's going for
Maybe. But they're random names, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that inspiring. Let's move on to Man United in 8th. Do you know what I want to concentrate on first?
Yeah.
What are the positives of the 8 games?
No,
your screen's still working. If you just had that shot.
United really have been shocking at points this season. It's been so up and down. We had like 3.
What are the positives?
We had 3 wins on the bounce, and we lost against Spurs and Brighton. And then so we had 2 losses, then 3 wins on the bounce, then another couple of losses. Positives? There really aren't that many. If I'm being brutally honest.
I'll give you 2. Paul Pogba's performances overall, I think, have had.
I think he does get far more criticism than he deserves.
Luke Shaw as well.
Sorry, yeah, that is one positive. Sorry, Luke, I forgot about you.
Yeah, no, he'll be fuming. So I mean, I gave you an opportunity there. Let it be known in the comments that I gave the Man United fan a chance to talk about the positives.
They've still got the best, one of the best forward lines in the league, or at least comparable to some of the other.
I did say this, and you laughed at me. I said that squad is capable of winning the Premier League.
It isn't. It's not.
It is.
The forward line is incredible. It's world class. The defence is horrible.
Yeah, but if you're scoring 4 or 5 goals a game, then it wouldn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it does matter.
I know.
The team that concede the fewest goals go on to win the league.
That defence can still be better than it is. And United last season had the second best defence in the Premier League, and it's the same set of players there. It's not an awful defence. The world's best goalkeeper in goal. It's not a shit defence.
The proof is in the pudding. United have conceded more goals than Newcastle, and have conceded only the bottom 3 have conceded more than United have this season. 14 goals.
Carrying on from one phrase that Flav likes to say to another one, if a fish stinks, it's stinking from the head.
Yeah, Mourinho.
If you're saying that's a squad that's good enough to win the league, 8 games in, you're 8th. Is it Mourinho?
I've made it abundantly clear what I think about. I thought Mourinho lost the players completely after the Valencia game. So we had Derby, we had Wolves, we drew, then we lost the Derby, then we got spanked by West Ham, then we had Valencia 0-0 at home. It's 4 games in a row. At that point, it didn't look like the players were playing for him. Then we're 2-0 down after 70 minutes against Newcastle and we win 3-2. That's given him leeway. Not just the win, but the manner of the win. That last 20 minutes was proper United that I remember from the Premier League era. And Mourinho now has got, as far as I'm concerned, 6 games. He's got Chelsea next coming up. We've got City away at the end of that in the 6-game period. We've got Bournemouth and Everton in between. If we can get results at Stamford Bridge, we won once there in the last 16 times. When that was in 2012 against 9 men with an offside winner. Our record at Stamford Bridge is abysmal.
Wow.
If we can come out with a result there, whether that be a draw or a win, he'll start getting support back on his side, which he got from that type of win against Newcastle. But it's still looking gloomy for him. But he's got an opportunity now to actually turn. I genuinely think if we come out of these 6 games, you can't sack him. If we've got Juventus back-to-back in the Champions League and City and Chelsea.
What would he need to stay?
We'd need to get
4 wins.
4 wins would be fair.
If he gets that, he deserves to stay because there's a tough run.
It's a hell of a run of games, and it's a perfect opportunity for him because after the international break, United was the story of every single paper, but it's kind of been muted a little bit now. But it's Chelsea, and it's his former club.
I mean, it's a stinker, isn't it? It's horrible.
Yeah.
Right, we move on up the league to Wolverhampton Wanderers, which I'm very pleased
excited about that
to
one,
see. It's a squad that really did sort of trounce the Championship last season, and the thing that they've continued with, and I think that's why they're above a lot higher than Fulham at the moment, is the strength of their defence.
Yeah.
Connor Cody's, he will be getting an international call-up sooner or later. The back three works for them, and they keep the ball really well. And then they've made some really smart additions in Patricio, and Moutinho's come in and slotted in well with the good Portuguese contingent that they had already. Are you surprised by Wolves?
Yeah, of course, because there's one thing trouncing the
1 for the last 5, I think it's
the Championship, but it's another thing coming into the Premier League and doing it as well, and without changing their style hugely. It's fascinating, and then their midfielder Neves
He's mustard.
He's great.
He's class,
He's great.
He's really good.
He's
good. Jimenez is good.
That's true. Look, they've got a great squad, and the one criticism I would throw at them, and the challenge would be about scoring goals. They don't score enough, and they've relied on wonder goals at times to get over the line, and that's fine
because they've got players who can do that.
Yeah, but these are low percentage attempts, and one day, if they don't start scoring, then you might see them drop down the table. I hope they don't, because it's a good story, but it's so far so good.
The struggle of that second season, where the kind of adrenaline's gone. That's for Wolves. I think they've got a squad that is feeling the kind of freedom of that first season and a good start as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting if they can keep it going. I think they've got to be hoping for a top 10 finish, haven't they?
At this stage, definitely. Yeah, the defence as strong as they have. Yeah.
Coming into the season, it was just avoiding relegation, but they started so well that they just want to continue that momentum.
It's the solidity. That's the key. You can build off so much from that.
Yeah.
Like the challenges that United have are almost opposite. But with them, they're solid and they're hard to score against, and they've just got to be a bit more fluid going forward, but not give away.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's when do you gamble, and they don't have to gamble because nothing's expected of them.
Whatever they're doing right now is working.
Yeah,
last 5.
Yeah.
Then on to Bournemouth, who I'm happy to say again, I did say they would start well because they have had a nice run of games. Lost the last game 4-0, which is a bit of a shame, which ruins my point a little. But that's a squad where there's some players who at the start of the season you wonder just how good they are, but they've shown how good they can be. In particular, Ryan Fraser's been brilliant for them.
Yeah, I think that, you look at them, they are going to get thumped every now and then because they play that way.
But I'm so
but that's fine.
They allow other fans to dream.
Absolutely,
of that because that's a small club.
It's a small club, and they've invested.
And
it's a small stadium, and they've invested more than you'd expect a club of that size to be, but they've just used the Premier League money really well.
Yeah.
So they're not investing more than or erratically or anything really more than any other mid-table Premier League side. If you look at it, they're just spending money and spending it well. I'm interested to see what their aspirations are, what their fans' aspirations are, because in football you can't just sit, you can't maintain. Your fans consistently want more, and I'd wonder, like talking to Bournemouth fans, what they would think about, or are they just buzzing to be around it?
I think the important thing is that you're moving forward, your team's getting better, and that's happened each season so far.
Eddie Howe.
So yeah.
Man, a major thing this season as well. If you imagine Callum Wilson last year when he got his major injury at the start of the year. They had some.
I think it might have been. He's had a few.
He's had bad injuries, and he's absolutely smashing it. And for them to have a goal scorer like him makes all the difference to a club like that. So you say that Wolves are struggling because they don't have that man, and they do only score a few goals. But Bournemouth have been smashing it in certain games.
And let's look at that squad again, because there aren't many names in there. Do you know what I mean? Steve Cook's been there from the start. Callum Wilson came up from the Championship. Even players that have come in and done brilliantly in the last couple of seasons. Ryan Fraser came in, I think, last season. This season he's got 3 goals, 3 assists. And David Brooks, who they signed from Sheffield United, is another kind of young, I think he's only 20. He's a youngster who they've got from the Championship and gone, yeah, you're a good enough footballer to play at this level and do well at this level. And that's not what other teams do. Other teams go and do what Wolves have done and go and buy big names. And it's amazing.
Is it Eddie Howe?
Yeah.
Do you think everything that's going on right now is Eddie Howe related?
I think part of that, and it's obviously his team around him and the recruitment, but ultimately Eddie Howe is the man, isn't he? To consistently do what he's done with Bournemouth is on a level with the very best managers in the league. And he doesn't and won't get the credit he deserves until he moves on from Bournemouth, unfortunately. I think he's a future England manager. If Pochettino was ever to leave, I'd seriously be happy if Eddie Howe took over at Spurs. Yeah, I think he's just underrated because he's English and he's at Bournemouth.
There's a different guy. There's a lack of pressure though. That's the one thing.
Well, when he went to Burnley, it did fall apart for him, but he was a long way from home, I'd say.
That's true. Right, we now move into the top 5. Starting with your boys, Spurs. Over to you, Flav. Thoughts on the first 8 games?
Spurs are having a weird season because we've amassed the record points total in the history of our Premier League campaigns. Yeah. And Pochettino, obviously, by token, is the same. Is his best start, but not everyone's very happy because I think the level of expectation's gone up. But more to the point, when our performances aren't great, we haven't clicked. We're not destroying teams. We're getting over the line. The Man United game was a little bit of a kind of. It's a bit distracting because we played so well for a short period of time and got 3 goals, but overall the performance was incredible. So look, if it all clicks, who knows what might happen this season. Thinking of like a title challenge if we replicate the sort of performances last season and continue to be consistent in terms of points. But I think we're probably still 3 or 4 players away from really winning the league.
I think when it comes to Spurs, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can go, well, you haven't clicked yet.
Yep.
And you're still getting points. Or you can think, we're not really playing that well. Actually, it's the points that are going to start to dry up.
Yeah, could well be.
You do want, from an outsider looking in at Spurs, you somehow, a couple of years you've been very good, but you've always just fell a little bit short. And you've managed to hold on to everybody in that squad. You've managed to hold on to Pochettino as well. Is this the season now where there's actually pressure on Spurs, whether it's the FA Cup or the title? Do you need a silverware at the end of this season for it to be considered progress?
I think there's pressure. I think from a lot of fans that's 100% true. But from my perspective, my opinion, no, not really.
Stay in the hunt, haven't you? And it will drop.
Something's going to click eventually. I think we will lose players will go, but that's fine. The same with any other side. Pochettino, I think, is going to stay. He's in it for the long haul. He's reiterated over and over again. The Spanish reporter said to Harry Kane, "Do you want to play for Real Madrid?" And he goes, "No," which is something that Lukaku couldn't manage when he spoke to. Even if he believes it.
Bring that back.
Yeah, sorry. The thing is with Pochettino, just to end this part about Spurs, is he's had to use 3 different formations in 8 games because of fatigue, because of Harry Kane's not up to speed. He's had to play 2 up top. He's had to play a diamond. He's played 3 at the back and 4 at the back several different times. We've had injuries all over the place. I think for the challenges that we've had this season, it's great to have got 18 points.
Okay, mind the gap. Arsenal are above you with the exact same points, isn't it? Goal difference is just a bit better to put them above you. Arsenal. Now,
did you get that one right, James?
I'm going to my XG, so feel free to sign now. But I just thought this was really, really interesting. So if you look at XG for the first 8 games, and I'll send this to you so you can pop this on the screen. It suggests that they've got 18 points, Arsenal, but actually they should be on 11 points, which would put them 11th in the table. So basically that suggests that they're getting quite lucky.
Or they're playing above.
Going so far.
They're being consistent in the way they finish.
Or they're being more clinical. Yeah, that's maybe another way.
I mean, that's nice.
Well.
Yeah. But the fact is they are for.
Well, so what do you think of Arsenal so far?
It's very much a surprise. You expected the season after Wenger finally did leave and Emery came in and he's trying to establish this new system into a set of players who become so accustomed to the comfortable life under Wenger. You thought there would be a teething process, a bit like Sarri at Chelsea. There is none so far. And Lacazette and Aubameyang are 2 players who have underperformed at Arsenal since they joined. But they're clicking this season. Everything just seems to be falling into place.
Aubameyang's
been good, but Lacazette's first season was probably a bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
but he's been great this year. I think going forward, Arsenal are fantastic. But you are going to be, because Aubameyang's one of the best strikers in Europe, and Lacazette's proven to be as well. Ozil was, that forward line is like £1 million in wages every week.
Yeah,
that might be a bit over the top, but you know what I'm saying. It's expensive. I still don't buy this defence. I'm not saying Socrates his form's improved, but I'm not sure about this system. Like Fulham were very good in that game in the first half. Fulham had the better of the side, and to hear Arsenal fans speak about it, it's just, that was the best performance of their season. They scored 4 goals in quick succession in that period, like the same against Arsenal. It was great. We were great for that moment, but it isn't reflective. The scoreline wasn't reflective of overall night. Both the Fulham Arsenal game and the. So look, the fact is though, it's about winning games. It's about scoring goals, and Arsenal are doing that, and they are above Spurs, and they've got 18 points, which matches our record. Start. So you've got to stand up and pay notice to Arsenal, and show them respect.
So kind of to go against what I'm saying there with the XG, I think that probably does paint a bit of a picture. Probably there is some truth in that, because that's XG. There is an element of truth in it, but you've got a new manager trying to integrate a few new players there, and so there will be those moments of teething problems. Guendouzi played so well in pre-season that they kind of had to start with him, but Torreira was something that they always wanted to get in, and he adds a lot of dynamism to that midfield. He's going to be a really good player for them, and you're starting to see what Emery's trying to do there, and it's a middleman between that pragmatism that they've been gasping for, Arsenal fans, and Arsene Wenger's kind of romantic, free-flowing football. I still think that there's going to be wobbles along the way, but what they've got at the moment is a bit of momentum. And actually, the Europa League's offering a bit of momentum as well, because of that 9-game winning run. You look at it, good few of them are against average teams in the Europa League. One game's in the League Cup as well.
But they are dropping major players for those games, so it's still good for them.
Yeah, I think the positives outshine any kind of negatives at all.
For a club that's had such little momentum for quite a long period of time,
literally stagnated.
Their fans are understandably buzzing, but it still does feel. I don't know whether Arsenal fan base it probably hasn't changed. That there's still going to be one or two losses away from a mini crisis emerging.
You've got Arsenal, Liverpool in a couple of weeks' time. That's a great test for them. It's at home. You've got the fans can get behind them, and historically, actually Liverpool going away to Arsenal it's gone quite well for them in the last few years. So that could be a marker that you can put down and go, no, look, this squad is improving and moving forward.
It'll be interesting to see how their defence deals with Liverpool's attack.
Totally, yeah. Right, now into the top 3. They're all on 20 points, all leading the way at the moment. And we kick off with Liverpool, who are third in the table at the moment. They've moved on, and the squad looks as strong as ever. And in the first 8 games, I think they've now come through quite a tricky period of fixtures. And overall, I think Liverpool fans will be delighted, won't they?
I think something that Liverpool fans will be really happy with is they've proven that it's not all about Mohamed Salah, because he's had quite a poor start to the season in comparison to how incredible he was last year. But in spite of that, they're still top equal on points, even though their main man hasn't been firing at all. Firmino's been great. Mane's really stepped up. Their midfield is... You clearly saw problems in Liverpool's team last year. I always thought they could never win the league. Look at their goalkeeper. Their midfield, they haven't really got much to switch around with, but now they've brought in Keita, they've brought in Alisson, Van Dijk.
Barely played.
Van Dijk is an absolute animal. He looked head and shoulders above basically any other centre-back in the league.
And Gomez has been great as well, coming in alongside
massively
him.
Rate him.
It's clicking. It's
clicking. Do you know what I think they've got that they've never had before is they've got a squad good enough to almost allow them to, autopilot's the wrong word, but with Fergie at United, there were weeks where you take out 3 or 4 players, and Fergie always said there's about 8 players in your team that you need to get you over the line to win your games, and so when you're rotating, it's 1 or 2 players that you need to move out to keep it going, to keep winning games, to keep the wheels turning. And I think this year Liverpool have often dropped points against teams they shouldn't be dropping points against, and I think they're just going to steamroll a lot of those teams, which means they're going to get a lot more points, which means they're giving themselves an opportunity to win the title.
Yeah, and we've seen a sort of drop-off in form in the last couple of weeks from Liverpool, but there's too much quality there for them not to be title challengers. They'll definitely close the gap on Man City. I've seen enough for them to win the league, but it's just how strong a City going to be, that's the thing.
That's true. Right, Chelsea, who are probably one of the other surprises of the season, 20 points. The one thing I would say with Chelsea, they've had some easy fixtures so far. And going to that XG thing, they're the only other team in that top half that shouldn't be where they are. They should be a tiny bit lower down. They are dominating games, but again, they've played Arsenal. That's it.
And that was Arsenal.
Oh, sorry, Liverpool they played as well, to be fair.
I think what it is about what you're seeing with Chelsea and Sarri is that you're watching, you can clearly see that the system that Sarri wants Chelsea to play in has happened straight away. There's not much of a transition going on. The players seem to be accustomed to it very well. Jorginho's made a big difference by coming in the middle. It just, again, just like Liverpool, it's working, but you expect that because it's Klopp's, third season there now. But you wouldn't have expected Sarri to come in and put in such a disciplined and intense system and for it to work so quickly. And Hazard is playing unreal. Best player in the Prem right now.
He's
by some margin.
7 goals, 3 assists.
I think the reason why it's clicked is because he has the personnel that suits his system. You've got Alonso on that left-hand side and Hazard, and so much of his attack goes down that left-hand side that it can't not work in a way. You've got Kante covering the holes on the right-hand side.
Jorginho's fitting in, keeping the ball really well.
Yeah, David Luiz has come back, obviously like a new signing. And
all that said, of these three, I'll tell you what, let's talk about Man City and then we'll talk about of these three, which one of those three do you think will end up dropping off a little bit? Man City, look, they're doing what's been asked of them. It's quite difficult to talk about Man City a lot of the time because there are so few weaknesses. The one thing I would say that I think it will be that little bit more of a slog for them this season. I think you've seen that already, that a couple of teams have been able to get the Wolves getting a draw against them, Liverpool obviously getting a draw, and overall, obviously there was a penalty there. Overall, I think Liverpool were quite comfortable with playing against Man City. Is there any way you can see them not winning the league this year?
I think Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool's the thing that's going to stop them. I think, probably not, but I think there's a lot in that sort of keeping the momentum up. Like, so much about winning the league is about mental aptitude. And once you've done it, how hungry are you to do it again?
Massively.
Whereas Liverpool will be desperate.
It's loud, isn't it?
Liverpool will be desperate to win the league, and they'll have that edge over Man City, and they have the mental edge over them as well because we saw what happened in the Champions League last year in the league in the second game. So it's going to be interesting. I think it will be between Liverpool and Man City, but I don't know, the way you see Pep in that documentary, and the mental aspect he's acutely aware of. I'm not saying, of course he is, but it's all important.
Well, he's used to it. He's had a Barca team that won and continued winning, so he's used to making sure that.
And how much of their attention is going to be on Champions League as well? I mean, they want to win that.
You look at the City team, you think, maybe 1 or 2 injuries have ruined them. They haven't fucking had De Bruyne all season, and they're still top of the bloody league.
Yeah.
I mean, he is their main man.
And do you know what you see with Man City? Just a giant fear factor from the other teams, and anyone below 6th don't even really have a go at them. Well, I mean, Wolves were the only team to do it, and were able to get something out of it, but they're still going to beat most of these other teams by 4 or 5. Yeah. So it's always going to be difficult. So of those three, you think it's Chelsea who might sort of ease away a little bit?
I think, I think if I was to have to bet on one, it would be Chelsea, but not by far.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it does massively depend on what goes on in the Champions League, because Liverpool can't not concentrate on the Champions League because it's so important to their fans, probably more than City fans, even though City haven't won it. But Guardiola will be 100% focused on the Champions League, and he did fail last year at a point where went into the game and City were favourites. It was the worst draw possible. And somehow, City, I've already said this on camera, somehow City are the favourites to win the Champions League this year. So the pressure's there on them. In terms of burnout, I would say Liverpool are the club that are most suspect to that, because it's what Klopp does. They've made the right signing, so if he can rotate properly, he'll be able to avoid it this year. But we saw it towards the tail end of last season. If they can avoid that, they shouldn't. But I don't know. I don't think Chelsea will fall.
Do you know what I love though? Look,
I think Chelsea will just be consistent
8 games
this
in,
season.
Man City aren't 6 points ahead.
Yeah, it's nice. You don't know what's going on there.
And yeah, the whole league table is fascinating. Right, let us know your thoughts on Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City in that top 3. Which one of those 3 are going to drop away? Can Chelsea actually go on and win the title? What's going on with Man United? How long can Bournemouth keep it going? And where the hell are Watford going to end up in the league table? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to Ball Street. We'll see you very soon.